Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Story of the Shot. I'm here with Tim Hopwood, and he is here to share the story behind this, stunning Stilt Sandpiper shot, man. Welcome, Tim.
Hey, thanks, Ray. Thanks. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, definitely. Just real quick before you get into that story, roughly where are you located? Where was this photo taken? Like what area of the country?
Okay. I live in Calgary, in Alberta, in Canada, Western
Yeah.
Canada, one of the prairie provinces. And I took this shot last year back in mid-August,
Okay.
which is basically the height of fall shorebird migration
Yeah.
locally. One of my favorite times of year. This was one morning, a crazy morning in a crazy 2 week period that I visited this spot about
Nice,
10.
man.
Yeah.
So is this a spot you'd been to before? Like, take us back to the beginning. I'd love to hear how this whole image came about.
Sure. This was taken at a place called Frank Lake.
Okay.
It's about, depending where you live, about 45 minutes to an hour south of Calgary, an
All
hour's
right.
drive. And yeah, it's managed by it's a quite a big wetland managed by Ducks Unlimited. I think you have that in the
Yeah.
state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's managed by them. It's been around, 20, 30 years and yeah, very well known and very popular with birders and photographers alike.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent.
So yeah, this was August. I always look forward to August. It's hard to predict sometimes when they're going to come, the shorebirds, but keep an eye on eBird and see what's
Yeah.
going on.
Have you noticed over
And
the years there's like a consistency to it though? Like the exact days change a little bit, but man, there's always like kind of that sweet week, right?
oh yeah, yeah. It's basically from the August long weekend, which is the first Monday in August. For the next 2 weeks, it's
Yeah.
yeah, pretty hectic. So
Nice. And you get a lot of variety that comes through, right?
yeah, that's one of the best things about it, is you never know what's going to be there from day to day. Things change overnight depending on the
Sure.
weather.
Yeah.
It's kind of part of the fun.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of weather, um, do you seek out going out like certain weather conditions? Are there days you don't go out, or is it just during that period of time, any chance you get, you're going out no matter what's happening out there weather-wise?
Yeah, so I'm a Monday to Friday worker, so
Okay.
I go when I can. Weekends I will go super early if the weather's looking good, as in it's clear
Yeah.
and sunny. But if it's going to be cloudy, I'll go a little later, maybe in middle of the day when it's a bit brighter, and go for that high key stuff.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense for sure. So obviously, I'm guessing morning on this image.
Yeah, yeah. This was mid-August, first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Craziest part about this was I'm not sure how much it impacted depending on where you were in North America, but we had those crazy wildfires up in
Yes.
Canada, and just it played absolute havoc. The smoke from those wildfires, we're
Sure.
trying to predict when, is it going to be sunny? And it might say it's sunny, and you get up and there's a blanket of smoke,
Yeah.
and it was, they had some novelty for a little while,
Yeah.
but after that, it really was not great at all for the kind of backlighting photography that I was looking to do.
Yeah, definitely. And so this was a morning where I assume it's pretty strong sun. So you got like the smoke wasn't much of an impact on this morning.
Yeah, so this was crazy. So I'd actually gone here the day before.
Okay.
It was cloudy, overcast, and saw a good variety of birds. And I thought, well, that was a Saturday, so I got tomorrow, the Sunday morning. The forecast is clear, smoke forecast. Well, who knows?
Yeah.
The amount of times, like I said, it says it's clear and it's
Yeah.
not. But set the alarm and said, we're going. We'll see what's there. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And so just a beautiful calm morning, I can see, right? No wind.
Yeah.
And yeah. Um, I'm curious to hear like that time of year up there, because I guess for me in the areas I've done shorebird migration, in the fall, it's usually not too bad, but if it's quiet and calm in the morning, I'm still dealing with bugs. Are you dealing with that many like biting insects
Oh,
and bugs on a day like that?
Okay, yeah. So the bugs on this particular morning, not too bad. About 3 or 4 days later, insane. Like we
Really?
had major midge hatch.
Oh no.
And well, the good thing is these midges don't bite.
That's true.
Yeah, so they're like swarms of them, and the shorebirds were just running along, gobbling them up.
Oh,
It
that's
was fun.
cool.
But yeah, the bugs, I just spray on a bit of the bug spray, the one that doesn't eat plastic,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and yeah, but not a real issue.
Oh, that's cool.
Um,
All right. So you get there. Do you tend to arrive before sunrise and get set up? Do you arrive right at sunrise? What's a normal morning like this leading up to this shot look like for you?
okay, so yeah, I like my sleep. I think everyone does, but I kind of cut it pretty fine. I try to be there maybe 10, 15 minutes before sunrise.
Cool.
That's kind of the goal. But yeah, and traffic at that time of morning is nothing. So it's a
Yeah.
pretty easy drive. But yeah, that was the goal. And yeah, I guess the biggest thing for me was when I set off, you can't quite tell whether it's smoky or not.
Yeah.
And then like I go, as I go about 20 minutes out of town, I go, I can see stars.
Nice.
And I go, okay, I think we got a clear one here.
Yeah,
And
definitely. And then
so
cooler morning, right? Because of that steam, right? I assume it was like
yeah,
temps were a little bit lower.
yeah, it was because it was kind of like I said, it was cloudy and kind of warmish the day before, and then I guess the temperatures dropped quite a bit overnight. And
Oh, it's the
I
best.
honestly, yeah, honestly, I hadn't paid attention to the temperature. I was kind of looking at wind and light.
Yeah.
And if I get that, that's great. And then the fact that the temperature had dropped quite a bit, this was just a super added bonus.
It's so funny. I have the same thing. It's very rare that I've actually paid attention to that temperature thing. I mean, I think like a handful of times ever I've realized, oh, there's maybe potential for this sort of conditions where you get that fog hanging on warm water.
Yeah.
But for the most part, every time I encounter it, I'm surprised as well. It's usually
Yeah.
just like you said, paying attention to the like good sun, low wind. Okay, I'm going for it. And then you get
Yeah.
out there and you're like, oh man, this is great. Like it's just such a nice bonus to have, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That was I go when I saw it, I go, oh boy, anything in
Give
this
me
is gonna
birds.
yeah, yeah. Just
Yeah.
give me something.
Yeah, totally. So your shorebird photography in a place like this, staying in one spot, you're not moving, are you mobile, like following the birds? Like how do you approach that?
So yeah, I found I kind of tend to because I was carrying the big 600
Okay.
F4 that not readily mobile.
Yeah.
I always handhold. I don't use ground pod or anything like that.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I just basically it's not. I'd say the wetland. Well, this particular little spot is maybe 200 meters by 50 meters, so it's
Okay.
not huge. But I just kind of said, okay, I know where the sun's coming up
Yeah.
because I checked that on the app. I knew where that was coming. So I kind of parked myself in a spot where I go, okay, I got a good, I can pivot 90 degrees one way or the other, and
Yeah.
I got all sorts of light to choose from. So that's kind of how and yeah, just I got out in the mud, belly crawled out up as far as I could go, which was up to the waterline, which was
Yeah.
good. And then you start to feel the sinking in a little bit.
I
You
was
go,
just
okay,
going to ask, were you? Yeah.
yeah, okay, that's far enough. That's
So in that case, are you wearing waders, dry suit, anything like that, or just wearing regular clothes and getting messy?
well, I wear basically Gore-Tex overalls. So yeah, get pretty messy in those, get
Yeah.
covered in mud. That's kind of part of the fun.
Yeah,
That's
definitely. I think when it's warm enough out, that's just the easiest thing to do, right? Just let it get messy. And
yeah.
the Gore-Tex stuff is really good. I think it does a good job of protecting against rainfall and snow and stuff like that. But man, as soon as you lay down and put pressure on it, it just seems like eventually the water seeps through. Is that your experience too?
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. I'm always, yeah, I don't, they say bone dry and all that
Yeah,
business.
right?
Yeah, it sounds good, but the reality is a little different. I'm always definitely damp on the elbows,
Yeah.
wherever I'm the contact points. But I mean, largely dry for the most part, but it's no big deal, especially this time of year when it's warm and it's not an issue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In the freezing cold temps, it's a little bit of a different story. It's like nice to stay dry. And usually I'll try and use like a mat or something, or like, now I use that dry suit, which is much nicer, but it's always a pain. So if I don't have to, I certainly don't like to. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Stilt Sandpiper, is that a bird you see often? Is it a common species, one that you photographed in the past, or is it something a little bit more unique?
Okay. So I wouldn't call myself a hardcore birder, so I couldn't say it's definitely not a rarity. I don't
Yeah.
think it set off any rare bird alerts or anything like that, but it's definitely one of the not as common as like your semi-palmateds and
Yep.
your leasts and that sort of thing. So for me, it's a treat. I think it's a cool
Nice.
looking sandpiper.
Is it
So.
something you recognized right away as like, oh, this is different? Or is that you didn't figure out until later? Did you notice in the field?
Okay, so call me a sandpiper snob, but I thought it was a yellow legs when I
Okay.
first saw it. And I thought, well, they're very abundant and
Yeah.
they're kind of so when I kind of looked through the lens and zoomed in, I go, okay, righto, we got something a
Yeah.
little bit more special here. I mean, I would have taken a yellow legs, but
Yeah.
this was a kind of the icing on the cake here.
It's definitely, I mean, with this situation and scenario, with the lighting like this, I think it sounds like you'd probably be the same as me. I would take anything there. You said it in the beginning, right? Give me any birds. But if you can add in a cool or a more unique or rare to you species, like, man, does that not elevate it like next level or
Uh,
what?
It was, I go, if this was the one shot I took, that morning, I go, okay, we're walking away super happy. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, so I was just like when the sun kind of popped over the reeds and it kind of just went woof,
Yeah.
like lit up the mist. That's when I go, okay, somebody walked through that. So, it's like,
How soon after the sun cleared those reeds and started glowing there did you get this shot? Was it pretty quick? It looks really early. I mean, the light is low.
yeah, this is, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes.
Nice.
And there was like at least 100 shorebirds there.
Wow.
We had phalaropes, dowitches, avocets, stilts. It was crazy. It
Yeah,
was
let's take a look at some of those. I know you kindly sent me a handful of those, so let's take a look. I mean, like this is all from that one morning, huh?
yeah, it was yeah, like I said, it was bananas. It is yeah, and then where I was laying on the mud, it was great because I could point one way and get backlit through that mist.
Yeah.
And then, if there wasn't happened to be no bird strolling through there at the time, I'd pivot the other way and I've got spotlight or side light on other birds. It was just like it was one of those
Oh, it's so cool.
you know, where you go, where do I point the lens?
Yeah, it's a tough choice sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I have to say I admire that you paid attention to the other light. Get that like front lit stuff like we're seeing here, and I mean that's awesome. And then more of that dramatic side light because I think it's so easy for myself at least. I can get locked in on that backlight thing, especially when you have like the fog and everything glowing. It's so easy to get locked in on that and then ignore everything else. But obviously, as you're showing here, I mean the other areas have some gorgeous opportunity. You know.
Yeah, it was like I said, I've it's definitely for me one of those, top 10 outings I've ever
Yeah.
had. It's just crazy.
So
And
you don't get this every time, huh?
oh no, no. Like and I went back here like at least 10 times over the next 2 weeks, like in the evenings after work. Yeah, and this is the morning driving in. I took this
Wow.
with my cell phone, and that's when I go, well, I got to show my kids when I get back home what was I was driving into because that was just beautiful driving in.
Wow, man. How close is this to that marshy area? This was like getting right there.
Yeah, so this is about I don't know, there's another kilometer of dirt road,
Okay.
but so maybe 5 minutes. This is kind of the gates to
Yeah.
the wetland, and I just kind of
Nice.
went down the window, cell phone out, bang, okay, get going.
Yeah, you're not wasting too much time at that point,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
exactly.
Oh my gosh, man. What an experience though. And then to get that bird there, there's the reflection. I love the super low angle. How long did that mist last for you that morning, Tim?
Okay, so I think it was maybe 20, 25 minutes. It
Nice.
kind of it hung around long enough that I got a couple different species going through there, like
Yeah.
phalaropes, dowitches, that sort of thing. Yeah, it was. I knew it wouldn't last long. I've experienced mist in different areas before, and I go, okay, you
Yeah.
got to make the most of this, but don't forget the stuff on the other side as well.
Totally, man. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Wow. Well, just what an incredible shot. And so during that 2 week period of time during your shorebird migration, is this the same? Are you hitting the same place every single time, or do you have like a variety of places? Like, how did you know to go here on that morning?
Well, so I was checking eBird, and like this is quite a like I would consider it. I try and stay local, so an hour's drive in the
Okay.
morning to come and see nothing is
That's a lot.
is like a waste. So I'm always checking eBird, and
Yeah.
I've seen good reports. So yeah, I go, and then after this morning, I go, okay, well let's go again, and I go after work some days. I went in a thunderstorm one time and
Oh,
got
fun.
some. I did a bunch of slow shutter, raindrop stuff,
Nice.
and yeah, it was everything. It was sunny, windy, cloudy, rain. It was all happening.
You cover it all. Yeah. That's like that's a really neat thing to do at a location that has consistent birds and consistent birds, and it's a beautiful spot to shoot, obviously. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So combine that with all the different weather conditions when you can revisit it like that. And man, you walk away with a ridiculous portfolio, right? From all those different styles.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was yeah, pretty magical 2 week period, and I have to mention like it's like I mentioned it's managed by Ducks Unlimited,
Yeah.
so and they manage the water levels,
Hmm.
and so some years this place is dried up
Yeah.
like, and other years like you'll get a absolute banger like
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
So it's again the variety is the spice of life.
Yeah.
This had it for sure this year.
It's also a reminder, take advantage of it when you do have it, right? And just don't be like,
Yep.
oh, I'll get it again next time. And it's not always the same next time.
Yeah, and that's kind of my philosophy is I go, okay, well, this place is pretty awesome right now. Like you
Yeah.
could go check some other spots, but hey, if it's awesome and the bird's there, why not keep going back? So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what
I
we did.
hear you. So here is the original straight out of camera, nice and moody. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about some of your decisions in post. Like what were your goals and what were you trying to achieve with that final image? Because man, you made it pop nicely.
Okay. All right. So number one, clearly I can't take a level shot.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I don't know anybody that can. I haven't figured it out in 15 years. So yeah.
Yeah. So that obviously had to be sorted out. So yeah, really, what I tend to do is I always add a little bit of saturation. I kind of for moody, I sometimes drop the blacks. I think I did here,
Yeah.
and then pop the whites, so you got the contrast. If I and then a little bit of warmth,
Yep.
a little bit of color temperature, added a bit of warmth there. And then if I had one regret here is I would have liked to get that kind of, I don't know what you call it. It's not really a bokeh ball in the front there.
This
The
guy
one,
here.
yeah. If I could have got the whole circle,
Oh, yeah.
I would have liked to have had that and then moved the bird up a little bit to
Sure.
the up left. But I think I might have had to go underground
Yeah.
to get any
Yeah.
lower. But yeah, I mean, all things considered, yeah, I felt, yeah.
I
If I'm
think I see what you're saying, Tim, but I have to say, I think that circle is soft enough and blends in enough that it's not so defined that it's an obvious like cut. You know what I mean? Like if it was a
right.
real crystal clear bokeh ball and it was clipped, that'd be like, it's a really bummer. So I didn't even notice it until you said it. And
Okay.
usually I would like nitpick the hell out of everything, right? That's my job. So yeah, I understand. I think it's great that you have that eye to see that and notice that and want to have that improve. But I think in the end, overall image, it doesn't really impact it that much. But yeah, man, I love what you did with it. I love how it's shot. The intensity is wonderful. The mood that it sets. I can just imagine myself laying there and just hearing the sounds. It's so calm. You almost feel that mist over you. It's just a beautiful way to start the day, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it was yeah, an epic morning. I remember coming away, kind of was like, one of those pinch yourself
Yeah.
moments going, that really just happened. Like it yeah, as I said, for me, I've been, I don't know, shooting maybe 10 plus years. So yeah, when the morning comes like this, for me, this was a super special morning. It was
Yeah.
just everything really came together for me.
Good for you, man. Well, I hope you get more of them this coming spring and fall migration.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The ducks have started to show up. The shorebirds will be a
Right
couple
behind
more.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice,
But
man. Nice. Well, thank you so much, Tim, for sharing the story behind this shot. It's a beautiful shot. It's a wonderful story. And I look forward to seeing what you keep coming up with, man.
thanks, Ray. It's wonderful to be here. Thanks for letting me tell my story here.
Certainly.